Today's 8th lesson, chip disassembly and assembly. But what about this chip that was dismantled today? Apple's power chip is located here. The reverse side is the CPU. When the power chip is damaged, we didn't do it properly. The CPU will be blown out of tin. If the CPU blows, the workload will be heavy. To layer, the CPU needs to be disassembled. So how do we use temperature? Safe disassembly and assembly power supply. Make it work. Some masters will use a little more than 400 temperatures. 430404540. Some will use 500, but the temperature is not important. What matters is our perception of heat transfer to the main board. That's all that matters. First, remove the power chip. To use the small chip mode of the R1 airgun of the maintenance home, the first step is to find the support point for the pry. Support point should not be at the edge of the chip. The edge will cause the power chip to break. We are looking for in the center of the chip and PCB, that area. So let's start with this. Find that layer. Okay, got it. After finding it, when the pry knife is pressed down, it just has points of support. It can support this. Then we start to remove the power supply. I'm using a 500 temp and an air volume of 65. The pry knife is placed on the power chip. Just put the air gun on it. Then heat the power chip evenly and shake it. Don't worry about tails. No need to worry. Now why is that? Because the double layer mainboard takes a long time to warm up in the early stage. Its heat dissipation will be good. So in the process of waiting in the early stage, no need to worry extra. Just wait. As soon as the time comes, you can get up. Okay, I'm up. After getting up, let's take a closer look. Power supply. After getting up, the overall state of the pad, the tin paste is flat. But the power supply can't be found. Okay. After taking it out, I found that the power supply was missing. The power chip can't be found. Then install a new power supply directly. Installing a new power supply will be slightly more difficult. You can see the flatness of the tin pulp. Flat. That means our temperature control is in place. The first step is to clean up the tin on it. When cleaning the tin, it's better to take off all the tin. No additional residue. Don't let these tin beads run outside. Will lead to other failure. Clean it with tin suction tape and oil. Clean up all the tin on it first. The blade just ran over. Those capacitors are misaligned. We can just remove it. It's okay not to. Blade over capacitor. That's where we just started prying the power chips. It's right here. These capacitors can be removed because when I pressed down hard just now, causing damage to these two capacitors and falling off of the capacitor, tin cleaned up. Then all that's left is glue. After the glue is cleaned, clean the glue on the edge. We can use tin suction tape on top. Okay, there is no glue in the middle. At this time, only when it is cleaned can you see the glue on the edge. When cleaning the glue on the edge, airgun small chip mode. The same temperature, the same amount of air. The only thing that has changed is the working distance. What is the working distance? At the beginning, when dismantling the inductor, we put the airgun on it. But now the airgun cannot be placed on it. If you put it on it, it will cause the temperature to be too high. When the motherboard temperature is not enough, the glue on the edge is hard, can't be pushed. We blow gun close to it. it's softened instantly. But as long as it can push, the air gun takes it away. When it can be pushed, take the air gun away. In this way, we clean the glue off the edge. There is no need to adjust the temperature and air volume. Use distance to reach the temperature we need. When you can't push it, the temperature is not enough. Take the air gun away when you can push it, and you do it that way, up and down. So during the operation, if the rated temperature and wind volume are used to define the disassembly and assembly of the power chip, is wrong, because every master's habits are different. At the same temperature, distance is very important. Like it's far away, then all the areas of the main board will be large. The temperature will be lower, very close. The area heated by the main board will be more concentrated. Temperature will be very high. These are the details we need to pay attention to. Right here. So controlling the air gun is up and down, up and down. That's all. After the glue on the edge is cleaned, we can install the power supply. And now here, we can continue with tweezers. You can also continue with a tin suction tape. You can also use a 210 knife head. Even here, there is still more residue. Clean up under the microscope. Temperature follows wind volume without a constraint. Due to distance, it can change at any time. Temperature received by the main board, and the temperature range at that time. It also changes with distance. At this point, the pads have been cleaned. Power chip can be installed. Install the power chip. If you are a novice, direct lead-free power supplies are not recommended. Direct installation requires replanting tin. Install again. Plant 199 tin pulp. That's it. We've cleaned up the power supply. Look carefully around the corner. This area and this area. There is still a little residue. If this residue is not cleaned up, wait a minute when we do the return action. There will also be a little hindrance. So around the corner, it has to be cleaned up. Power chip. Then this power chip has been reimplanted with tin. Just install it directly. Direction up. Be sure to plant tin with this 199 tin pulp. Squeeze some oil and turn the power up. After the release, our main focus now is to look at the wind gun. But at this time, the temperature and wind volume remain unchanged. Get close and let the area heat up quickly. The closer you get, the smaller the area the wind gun blows. The farther you go, the bigger the area it blows. After the homing action is done, first time we remove the wind gun. Look at the current. Only then can we know if it is installed. First, lower the temperature of the main board. Buckle up the power. If anything happens, when the power is deducted, it is already known. Power on. When the main board temperature is high, the current that will affect the takeoff is too large. So we must lower the temperature of the main board. Then look at the power on current. 120 takeoff. The temperature is still a bit high to cool down. Again, as the temperature drops, its takeoff current will be less and less. The current takeoff is still 120. After long pressing for a few seconds, it will turn on. If there is not enough time to press, it will return to 0. Just continue to long press. Okay, not well. If you don't press it properly, the current will return to 0. Okay, let's long press now. Okay, it's on. When the temperature is high, its takeoff current will be too large. The normal takeoff current is 80 or 90. Because now that we're done dismantling, the temperature of the main board is high. So now lower the temperature. There are many ways to lower the temperature. Leave it there to cool naturally, or use a fan to assist. It's all okay. Okay, let's look at the takeoff current again. Then this is the complete power chip disassembly and assembly. Then let's look at the distance again. So let's look at the top image. Now the power supply, we have replaced it with 199 tin pulp. Then if we disassemble and assemble again, then there is no need to lower the temperature. We can still do this. During our repair process, normally we use these temperature tricks. Current temperature is 500, the airflow is 65. The points of the power supply and pad to be removed are flat. Then before dismantling, we also need to do the return action, because it's 199 now. There is enough fault-tolerant space to do the homing action and then dismantle it. It wasn't enough at first. Now, because there's a little gap between 199 and lead-free. After that, there's enough fault-tolerant space. Then when we dismantle again, you can move the chip first and then take it. Then it doesn't have any other problems. This is what we just did. Remove the state. The lower dots are flat. The dots above are also flat. So during our practice, don't just practice once. We can repeatedly sense the difference between the distance of the air gun and the temperature of the tin paste after changing. We only have a thorough understanding of these things in order to complete the repair of the machine at will. Control the temperature of the air gun and the temperature required for the board. Then this time we install it again, because there is a large enough temperature difference after changing to 199 solder paste. So the fault-tolerant space is about 5 seconds out. 3 to 5 seconds, it can't take too long. Keep cooling. Test again. Same takeoff current. It will still be a little too large at high temperatures. Okay, I didn't press it. It's normal to return to 0. Hold. Okay, it's on. Okay, we'll be there for this class.